Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to another visit to the Mound. I'm Lark Smith, along with
Stan Huff.
Today, we're going to pick the brain of Stan Huff as to managerial strategy. He has been a manager before at several different levels, and I'd like to find out his idea of strategy defensively, offensively during the game of baseball. So let's start off defense. So what kind of strategies you want to tell us about from the defensive side of baseball?
Okay, let's start off with a bunt situation. You got a man on first base, and it's a tight game late. You got a guy up that can handle the bat, so you're going to bunt the ball. So normally with a man on first, the bunt's going to go down the first base line because we want the first baseman to make the play, all right? So if you're the offensive team, you're going to bunt it that way and make the defensive guy make a tough call. So when a first baseman is coming in like that, it's tougher to get pivot around and throw to second and then get it to first base. Otherwise, the pitcher is going to cover first. He's going to flip it to him, but now they got a man in scoring position. So the defensive side, you got your first baseman and third baseman are playing in on the bunt with a man on first. The ball's bunted. Now, the pitcher's coming in too. It could be bunted between the first baseman and the pitcher. The pitcher might have a better shot at getting at it. Then the first baseman has got to backtrack and get to first base so you can get the out. If it's a hard bunt, okay, that's an easy one. He doesn't have to come in much. He just goes there and they throw the ball to first. Okay, first and second. Okay, now your defense is going to come in. You're crashing in.
Can I back up 1 second?
Go ahead.
You kind of left the third baseman out of that bunt situation.
Well, he's coming
defensively.
in too.
If he's coming in too, you've got that runner going from first to second. Third base is uncovered, so your catcher has to go down and cover third, does he not?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
He does, and that's a good point. But your third baseman, if he's an aggressive guy and you're the catcher, you got to know that right now.
Right.
So, and we practice that so many times to do it that way. So, and there was a couple of plays over my career that I actually tagged the guy at third base because I was there to get the ball.
Sure.
So that was a good point. I forgot about that one. That's good. But, okay, now let's go first and second. Now, everybody's going right here. Now, where are you going to bunt the ball?
Yeah.
Well, conventionally speaking, we're third base. I mean, you want the third baseman to cover the ball so you can get both runners over. You got a better chance of getting a double play on this one if the third baseman's in on that ball pretty quick. He can go to second, and then they can turn it, throw it to first, and get two outs.
Right.
Now you've got a man on third with two outs, and it's going to take a base hit to get him in.
Right.
All right, defensively, we want to be on top of that hitter. If he squares around a bunt, we're charging hard. We're charging hard, okay? Rarely do you see them do that butcher boy play where they come back and tap the ball through the infield.
But your dental plan better be up and ready to go.
Well,
he does.
in all my playing, I've never seen that happen.
Okay.
I've played for 12 years. So understand, it could happen. Yes, it could, definitely. But it's rarer. It's even rarer happening when the guy does that.
Right.
So it's a total bunt situation. And usually when you get to that situation, you have two pitchers that are going toe-to-toe and doing their jobs.
Right.
So there's not much offense going on. And what the offensive side is trying to do is manufacture a run.
Absolutely.
That's all. One run just might get it.
Right.
So when you got pitching staffs that can do that, you're in for a long day offensively is what it is. It's going to be a lot of strikeouts, not many walks, and a lot of pop-ups and weak ground balls. So first and second, nobody out. You're going to crash in. Now, we got a play where we call the wheel play. This is one that I don't like. It's where the second baseman comes in behind the runner, and as a pitcher starts his delivery, everybody's crashing. You got the second baseman's going to first, and the shortstop's going to third. The problem with this is it leaves the whole infield open. And then my first managerial move, I thought I was going to be really smart and do that. Well, a pitcher was up, and evidently this guy could handle the bat a little bit. Well, he did that little butcher boy play, and he tapped the ball through the infield, and we got beat by one run. And at the end of the game, I noticed this isn't going to happen again. I don't know why we work on this. So you got to be 100% sure the guy's going to bunt before you can do it. Now, I was 100% sure the guy was going to bunt. But guess what?
He didn't.
He was 101% sure he was going to do that, and he did it and won the ball game.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that wheel play, that's a tough one. Now, defensively, we got a fake wheel. That's where the shortstop breaks in behind the runner at second base, like he's going to the bag, and that's to draw the runner back, okay? Now, he takes off. It's to freeze the runner. I'm sorry. I'm not drawing back. It's to freeze the runner right there because the base runner is going to see the shortstop going towards third base, okay? Now, when he sees him going towards third base, there's a tendency to get off a little bit more. At that point, that's where we have the second baseman charging towards second base in a pickoff, and the pitcher is moving on the second baseman. All right, on the shortstop when the shortstop clears the runner.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the second baseman is picking off that shortstop too.
Right.
So that's worked a few times. It's a pickoff play. The other bunt play is we practice this too.
Mm-hmm.
A popped up bunt.
Right. Okay.
Man on first and second. What's going to happen? If it's popped up, the runners are probably going to stay there.
Should.
Now, if the catcher sees the batter runner not running, what he's going to do is he's going to let the ball hit the ground, trap it, and throw it to first base.
Absolutely.
Where you get the force out at first and then get the guy on first in a rundown and get him out. Now you got 2 outs with a man on third base, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's popped up deep enough, the pitcher gets it and he sees and the guy's running, he's going to catch it, obviously. Mm-hmm. But if he's not running, he's going to let it drop, and then he's going to throw it to second base.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That way,
easy double play.
Is possibly. It depends on the runner too, how far off the runner is. But we're going to have him look to second first because he's going to have plenty of time without that batter runner running to first to throw it to either base. Okay. Say hit and run. Hit and run. Now this is a situation that should be done with a base runner that knows how to run the bases.
Is this hit and run defensive that you're looking at?
Defense. Okay. Excuse me.
How to handle a hit and run defense?
Defensively, yes. Okay. Defense. Let me go back because I was talking offense. On a hit and run defense, but first of all, the tendencies of the team. Are they going to hit and run or not?
Right.
Well, in that case, if it's a right-handed hitter, you want your second baseman holding his position and the shortstop covering, okay? Because they're probably trying to hit the ball to the opposite field, okay? If you know the hitter.
Right.
Now, if the hitter's a pull guy, you're going to have your shortstop stay there and the second baseman go.
Right.
So those are the tendencies you got to look for in these teams. And it's playing them multiple times, you'll find these things out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the hit and runs, probably your hitter's probably going to try to hit it on the ground. Okay, so in this situation with them running, you want to think more. If you can get a double play, fine, but it's not the primary. You're going to get the out at first.
Absolutely.
We got to get an out.
Yeah. Now,
if we got a base open in second and third covered, then you might want to walk the next guy and set up a double play.
Sure.
Because this has happened too. It's almost like doing it in your sleep, depending on the hitter that's coming up after that guy too. Mm-hmm. So, okay, defensively, the third baseman is going to be playing in on that right there.
Right.
All right, but not too far in, okay? Because if the ball's hit to him, he's got to be able to get to third and throw it to first.
Right.
So we get a double play. Your outfield with a ground ball line drive hitter is going to play more to his tendency. If he's a right-handed hitter, he's got a slow bat, you're going to play him a little bit more to the right side. If he's a pull hitter, you're going to play him a little bit more to the left side, okay? But the pitcher has to be aware of where they are playing, okay?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, if it's a guy that with a not so great bat and he's pitched, if it's a guy that can swing the bat and he's hitting the ball, he can hit the ball the right side, but if he throws the ball middle in, he might pull it.
Right.
So you got to be aware of that too. So those are other things that you look for when you're managing. Okay, let's go to the offensive side. You got a man on first that can run, that knows how to steal a base. He knows how to get a jump, and he's a good base runner.
Right.
Then you got a guy that can handle the bat. This is a guy that's
good contact hitter that can hit to all fields.
Yeah, all fields, good bat control, the whole deal. If you got those in play, then you take your chance, probably with one out. You got it. You're running the runner. You get the runner going. If he misses the pitch, he might steal the base.
Sure.
Then he's in scoring position.
Right.
The idea offensively is get your runners to second base. Let me back up a minute. Runner scores from first base 10% of the time.
Runners that reach second base score.
Well, what's your guess?
I'd say probably 50% of the time.
A little bit more, 70% of the
Really?
time. Yeah, and third base, 90% of the time.
Wow.
This is less than 2 outs. Okay,
yeah, less than 2 outs.
All right, so you get the guy to second base, you got a runner in scoring position. There's really no need to steal third unless the guy knows the tendencies of the pitcher and the catcher and can walk into third.
Right.
All right, it's got to be 100% sure on that one.
Right.
Two axioms in baseball: don't make the third out at third base.
First or third.
First or third out at third base, or even the plate. Okay, that's your scoring spot right there.
Right.
All right, so the hitter hits the ball on the ground. That's the primary objective. The secondary is to hit it behind the runner.
Correct.
That way we can possibly get a first and third situation, okay? Now, if he's a really good base runner and the outfielder tries to throw the guy out at third with a little bit of a high throw, then he can get to second. Now you got second and third with one out, all right? Which the manager of the other team might be walking the next guy so you can but that's when we don't need ground balls. We need a long fly ball for a sacrifice fly.
Absolutely. It's something to the outfield. It changes the approach at the plate.
Yeah, and if you get a guy, if you tell him, look, all we need here is a sacrifice fly, that really relaxes them. They know they can do that. Yeah. This is when you see home runs hit because they're more relaxed at the plate, trying to get just a sacrifice fly, and the ball it flies out of the ballpark. Yeah. Now you got a 3-run home run or a grand slam, however you want to look at that. Let's see here. Okay, picks and run.
I wanted to go back to one thing about offensive bunting.
Yes.
With runners at first and second, I have seen what I basically call a suicide or a safety squeeze, let's call it, with a runner at second base, where they basically take off on a hit and run, but he's bunted up the first base side. He's got a runner at second base that's fast enough that could score from second base on that bunt. I've seen it happen several times in college games. Now, the pros, I don't know. But
that's not a bad idea, but it doesn't happen enough that, guy's got to run. And the second thing is the bunt has to get past the pitcher.
Right.
Because if you got 3 people trying to get to the ball, the first baseman, the second baseman, and the pitcher, and the guy just keeps running, period.
Yeah.
All right, that can happen. Now, it's not very common, but it can happen. Yeah. A drag bunt's really a good way to get on base as well. Yeah. I mean, offensively. Yeah. Mickey Mantle, when he was drag bunting from the left side, he's running to first in 3.1 seconds.
You're not going to beat him.
No, there is no way. Even the quickest pitcher on the mound can't get to that ball and get it there in that time.
No.
When you got a guy who can run like that, you might want him, and he's a left-handed hitter or a switch hitter. You might want to say, hey, can you bunt? Can you drag bunt? You're going to get a few base hits that way. Yeah. Particularly if it's a left-handed pitcher and you're a left-handed hitter. You're bunting the ball to he's falling off towards third base. You're virtually almost bunting it towards the middle of the field.
Right.
So you got the middle of the field to the first base side. So there's another way to get a hit.
Yeah.
But there's another old axiom in pro ball. You can't bunt your way or walk your way to the big leagues. You got to swing the bat.
Fully understand.
When you need to do something to win a ball game, though, or to get scoring and people in scoring position, you got to do it.
Chicks dig the long ball. What can I say?
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, what we're going to talk picks and rundowns. Okay, these are more timing plays, particularly if you got men on first and second. All right, so back up. The first baseman is backdooring the guy behind the runner, and he's turning. The pitcher's turning to throw to first. Well, let's just take a pickoff play just to first base.
Okay.
You could fake with a man on first and third. You used to step to third and throw it to first.
Can't do that anymore.
Can't do it anymore, and they're
speeding up the game.
They're gotta tell you. Well, here's another play that was even better. You got first and third, okay? The pitcher throws a couple over to first base, okay? And then on the third one, he notices the guy is coming off third way too quick.
Mm-hmm.
So what he does, instead of just turning and throwing to first, he steps off and fakes a throw to first and then throws it back to third.
Yeah.
I've done this more than a handful of times, and it's worked.
Right.
But it's just about watching the tendency of the runner.
Sure.
If he's breaking on the throw to first, you got to watch that, because that's when that tells you got an opportunity to do this. I don't know if that's illegal now either. I don't see how it could be, because you're disengaging from the rubber.
Well, from my point of thought, the runner at third is stupid to be doing that in the first place. You're just 90 feet from home plate. You're going to score pretty easy on anything.
Well, hold on. I'm not asking about the guy's IQ. We got a really aggressive runner out there that's not thinking. He's thinking, I'm cool. Watch me do this.
Stay put.
Well, that's when he learns you can't really do it that way all the time, because something like that might happen.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, okay, it was done to us first.
Yeah.
And in lower level minor leagues, that I started working on this because I liked that play. Okay, but it's not my play. I'm copying somebody that did it on us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's picks and rundowns. Man on first and second, okay? The pitcher comes into a set position, all right? The guy takes off for third. Okay, he's got to step off and throw the ball to third base. Where does the pitcher go? He goes to third base, okay? And until the catcher gets down there, and now you tell the pitcher, go to home, cover the plate.
Right.
Because now you got a situation where you can possibly get 2 outs.
Right.
But you want to do that on the least amount of throws as you can.
Absolutely.
1 throw, get at least 1 out,
Mm-hmm.
okay? 2 throws might get 2 outs.
Might.
But we got to get 1 out for sure,
Mm-hmm.
all right?
They're giving you an out.
They're giving you an out, particularly when they're taking off like that. Evidently, the pitcher was slow, but the pitcher might have been setting them up for that.
Right.
And some guys will do that, so you got to be aware.
So basically, he throws the third baseman runs that runner back to the second base bag, and the only throw that he's going to make is to the second baseman covering the bag.
Well, yeah, the second baseman is going to be coming into toward the runner and catch the ball and tag him.
Yeah, okay.
He's going to be moving towards that runner. He's
Right.
not just going to stand at the bag.
Right.
So that's the best way to do that.
Right.
Let me see here. Let's cut off some relays. You got to get guys. Those balls hit in the outfield. Some guys don't have the arm to get it there, so you need a cutoff and relay. Now, the relay guy is usually a guy that stops the runner from taking an extra base.
True.
That's why he's got to be there, and that's why the outfielder's got to hit the cutoff man as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
They're going to get multiple bases on this, but we try to slow that down and stop them. 1 base is enough, not 2 bases.
Yeah.
2 bases means you're possibly getting a scoring position,
Yeah.
but it's going to happen. The center fielder is now your leader in the outfield. He takes all the balls,
Right.
and in the infield, it's your shortstop first, then your second baseman.
Right.
And then by the catcher's area, it's the catcher.
Sure.
And unless it's down the line of the third baseman, it's the third baseman. If it's down the line, pop up down the first base line, then it's the first baseman.
Right.
Those are priorities, and those priorities talk about a popped up ball where the infielder's going out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody else does it, but I did. I taught the outfielder that if he's coming in hard and the infielder is not looking, that you're the one that's going down. You're sliding and he's staying up because he doesn't see you.
Right.
Okay, so that's helped.
Sure.
So that's something that needs to be taught as well.
Yeah, playing shortstop most of my life, I would always tell the left fielder and center fielder, I come out for everything. You must call me off.
Exactly. Well, that's the way it should be,
Sure.
Lark. Anyway, let's see. We got offensive side.
Well, you were talking about cutoff men. I've had to sometimes re-educate junior teenage players on who the proper cutoff man, because the junior varsity coach at the high school level, who was the math teacher that drew the black bean, didn't necessarily know out of position cutoff men.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I would think that as far as an outfielder's mental approach to a particular pitch.
Well, let's just look at it this way.
Only if there's a runner at third base should you be thinking, I'm throwing the ball home. Otherwise, you're hitting your cutoff man, period.
Well, if there's a runner at third and there's a base hit, you're going to second base.
Well, sure. But, I mean, if it's a fly ball and it's less than 2 outs, that's the only time you need to think, I'm going to try to throw the ball all the way to home plate.
Well, it depends on how deep the ball's hit, too. I mean, if it's
if it's at the fence, forget it. You might as well, just
second base.
Yeah.
Okay, but if it's one of those in between pit balls, yeah, the pitcher's going to back up home.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The shortstop, if it's the left field, is going to be your cutoff man, or your third baseman, or your first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the other side, your cutoff man was going to be the second baseman or the first baseman. All right. It just depends. But the pitcher's going to be backing up the plate all the time. He better be. My first year, we had a guy dead to rights at home. The ball was coming in hot. Well, the pitcher was in front of me and cut the ball off.
He's supposed to be behind you.
Yeah, he was mad because he gave up a hit. Well, I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I don't know, but why do you let it go? Because now you got another earned run, you turkey." Anyway, I don't know how we ended up, but that was definitely worked on the next day for a long time.
I do have a cutoff man question.
Yeah.
A runner at second, and let's say a runner at first, base hit to right field. That runner's going to go to third. If you're in right field, who is your cutoff man, the shortstop or the second baseman?
But it depends on where it's hit okay, first of all, it's going to be probably your shortstop.
Okay.
The second baseman is probably going to go to second to cover the bag. And if it's even deeper, it's going to be the first baseman to throw the ball, to cut the ball off for home plate.
Right. But I'm just talking a situation where the throw's going to have to go to third base.
Most organizations do shortstop, but I got to tell you, there's some that don't. So it's a matter of who is the better athlete.
Who's got the better arm in right field, maybe?
Right. Yeah, really. That could play in who's the cutoff man too.
Okay.
With the shortstop there, if he can cut the ball off, okay, the runner's probably going to stop at third, and they got to possibly get the guy in a rundown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got second baseman is second. Your first baseman is coming in too, but now you see there's going to be a possible play. He goes back to first. He catches the ball, throws it to first. Depending on where the runner is, you might throw it to second. They get a quick tag out. You check the guy on third. It depends on how players have to manage themselves on the field.
Okay.
You can't have a coach out there saying, "Now you got to do this, do that, throw it there." No, not there. Now,
I understand that, but I mean, you got to practice it too. I mean,
exactly, you got to practice those scenarios, and that's we've done a lot of that
over the years.
A lot of that, yeah. Anyway, that's.
Have we covered everything you wanted to cover as far as managerial strategy when it comes to bunts, pickoffs, and cutoffs and things of that nature? Have we covered all that?
Yeah, we got one more to cover.
What's that?
When to take the pitcher out.
Okay, we're going to do that in this section or some other session?
No, we're going to do it in this one. It's not going to be long. First of all, I want every pitcher on my team to get in such really good shape to pitch 9 innings, and it's everyone.
Absolutely.
It's not just the starters. It's everyone.
I want them to go through a Ferguson Jenkins, Nolan Ryan type offseason to where they are conditioned to be able to do that.
I tell you what, Nolan Ryan's pitching for me, I'm not even going to look at the bullpen.
You know he's out there.
He's going to be the pitcher.
Yeah.
That's the kind of competitor that you want in all your pitchers.
Right.
Okay. They are competitors, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and you got to go get them.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Sure. Because they want to stay out there, and you know better than to leave them out there.
Well, the only time it's not tough is they're walking a lot of guys and they're giving up some hard line drive base hits.
And that's when they yeah, Skip, I just don't have it today.
A lot of them don't admit it. Oh, I can get this guy out. Okay, well, you haven't yet, so give me the ball. So I've got to make a decision here. And some of them will get a little horsey out there and say, I'm not leaving. Here you are. You got to give me the ball. I'm the only one in charge right now, and that's how it's got to be. Tomorrow you can be in charge, but today I am.
Yeah, you go.
So here's the deal. Give me the ball. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it at the end of the ball game, okay? This comes to play even when you're doing pinch hitting.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm sure.
Okay, so when a guy's getting tired, let me go back to pitching.
Right.
When the guy's starting to get tired, his pitches normally are up in the zone, and he is starting to give up some pretty hard up in the zone. Hitters, it's an easier way to hit the ball.
You can check it with velocity too if his fastball's lost a couple of miles per hour.
Exactly. That's another thing. All right, so you have somebody ready to go. All right, you get them in the game, then you work it from there. All right. So the conventional wisdom, if you got a left-hander up, your right-hander out there on the mound, you got a lefty in the bullpen. You bring the left-hander in to face the left-hander.
Sure.
Okay. I had a couple left-handed hitters. I didn't care. I said, "You've shown me you can hit a left-hander. So does this bother you?" He said, "No."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, get up there and hit one hard and drive this run in. Let's win the ball game. Get out of here."
Sure.
And that's happened. That's,
yeah.
You know, the other manager's thinking, I'm going to pinch hit.
Yeah.
Well, when he brings his lefty in, and my left-hander stands up there and drives one to the gaps, well, he took a flyer that I was going to pinch hit.
Right.
And so I won that part.
Right.
It doesn't make him stupid manager.
He's playing the percentages.
He's playing percentages, and that's really the way you should do it.
Sure. But he may not be looking at the percentages of that particular batter.
Oh, exactly. So now let's go back to pinch hitting. This is a good one too. One, for instance, I'm not going to say names.
Sure.
I had a catcher that could really catch, but bat had holes in it, big holes. Okay, he came up that night 3 times with 5 men in scoring position and struck out.
Ouch.
So at that point, he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
And 5 left on base.
5 people left on base. Well, we get to a tie game going into the bottom of the 9th, and we need to win the ball game. And I had a left-handed hitter that had a bad wheel, but he could hit. Anyway, okay, so this guy's coming up. It's 2 outs. I'm going to take a chance right now.
Absolutely.
And he's in the batter's box, and I said, no, the lefty. Well, he dropped his head, dropped his bat, got really upset. Went to the dugout. I had a man on second with 2 outs. I said, okay, this guy's hitting. So he comes up there, and, I mean, he hit a blistering line drive to right field. We won the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more extra innings, to be honest with you. It might have been in the 10th inning. Anyway, at the end of the ball game, the guy comes in. We won the ball game. He comes in and says, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah, come on in." Well, he says, "Why'd you take me out of the game?" Well, to be fair, I wanted to do this as gently as I could. I said, well, we had a right-hander throwing. You're a right-handed hitter. I felt like at that time I could put this left-hander in and he would get a hit and we could win the ball game. So I was playing percentages, as you said.
Sure.
And it's exactly what happened. Well, he said, "No, that's not why you took me out of the game." I said, "Well, why was it?" He said, "Because I struck out 3 times." And then he went in to tell me I wasn't a very good manager. So I looked at him as bluntly as I could, and I said, well, you're not a very good hitter. Do you realize you left 5 men in score position in those 3 at-bats? Well, he didn't realize that. Well,
No.
he was pretty upset.
Yeah, I can understand. But
Well, hey, live and learn. Tomorrow we got a new day.
yeah,
Maybe you'll pop one up and it'll fall in somewhere.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe you'll get
Yeah.
jammed and
Hey,
it'll
get
fall
one of
over.
those excuse me doubles.
Yeah, if it fall over the second baseman's head, you look like you batted 1,000 that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for today as far as that goes.
That is our time for this episode of A Visit to the Mound. We thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, anything you would like for us to cover, we would certainly like to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Visit to the Mound or on our website at avisittothemound.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review this podcast, and be listening the next time we make a visit to the mound. That'll wrap up this visit to the mound. We certainly appreciate you joining us today for a little baseball talk. Anytime you want to hear something about baseball, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com for the next edition of A Visit to the Mound.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.